is grim. What was great, guys?
Oh gosh, what was grim? What was great?
I can go first.
Yeah, go for
Please
it, girl.
do.
Okay, so I've had an iPhone 11 for the longest time now,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
I
right.
finally got what was great. So I finally got the iPhone 16 Pro Max,
Yay!
and I absolutely love it. But what's grim is that TikTok didn't transfer with the data from like my old phone to the new phone, so now I can't download it, as well as Lemon 8 and CapCut. So now it's out of my life. Currently.
Dang.
I thought TikTok was back on.
It is back on, but
Yeah.
you have to have already had the app. So if you deleted the app during the ban,
Nuh-uh.
or if you get a new phone,
You no longer have
you
it.
no longer can re-download it.
For
I can
now.
still
I didn't know
access it
that.
online, but yeah, I can't.
I think for now.
I
Yeah,
think
like
it's
you
for
said.
now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but
I have a TikTok account, but I don't ever use it.
really,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
kind of
think
feel
I've
that.
been on it once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on it more than that, but
What you checking
What are
out
you
over
checking?
there? She's like,
I freaked out. I was like, wait, did she? I was like,
Good.
is the green? Is it
you
a
can
green?
see it on the thing.
Well, that's true. Actually, I can. But sometimes when I talk, it still will pick up over there. So I don't know. But anyway, sorry. I was just freaking out over here. But yeah, no TikTok
Dang,
for
TikTok.
me.
sorry,
Yeah.
girl.
no.
But my husband still has it, so I could always steal his phone if I want to doom scroll.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I usually doom scroll on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm an IG girly. I can't help it.
Same.
So I started doom scrolling on Instagram because I don't have any other choice.
Right.
And one of the first videos that comes up, and I'm not saying that this wouldn't happen on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like TikTok knows me better. But
It probably does.
Yeah.
The algorithm.
this
yeah.
reel was this woman lying on the floor in the shower with like an IV bag of coffee fluid hanging on the shower head. And she was
Okay.
like, 10 reasons why you should put coffee up your butt. And I was like,
What?
no.
Were you in
This is
public
my thing.
too?
No, thankfully I was home, but it's still like, why does Instagram
Why?
think that I need to see that? Like, I like my caffeine, but I've never insinuated.
It's called an enema.
It knows your deep, darkest secrets.
I'm just not interested.
I mean,
Coffee enema.
whatever you're into,
We support it.
yeah, we'll support
know?
it. There's some other
Instagram
things that
apparently
Vex is
Right.
into
If
that
it's
we
like-
won't put
If
out
it's
here.
aquatic, that's fine.
Yeah.
We
Shut
understand.
up. It's too soon. It's too soon. They
Is
don't need
it?
to-
Inside jokes. Inside
It's
jokes.
been almost a year now, and it's still holding
It's
on pretty
true.
strong.
You know, if you want to talk about it, we're just saying we're a safe space. We've got you.
Well, either way, it sounds like you are still figuring out your algorithm on IG. Sounds like it's pretty.
Comfort level.
It sounds pretty crappy. But what about
No
you?
pun intended.
No pun intended. What about you,
I
Lizzie?
am racking my brain about what happened this week that was grim or great, which is
Yeah.
kind of meh.
Yeah.
I think the biggest grim is that sometimes work is really boring. Like we go through
Mhm.
phases of, man, we're slammed. I got to do this and that and this. And I would much prefer chaos over boredom. So this last week, there were definitely some spots of me just like sitting on my phone, you know, playing a stupid game. I do like listening to podcasts when it's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But being bored is not my favorite. So that's all I can think of. Not a whole lot happened.
Well, to piggyback off of yours,
Mhm.
my grim is actually work in a sense because you can. Well, I wish you could come work at my job, but who knows?
tried
Maybe
to.
I know they're just little picky Nancy's. I don't really know, but it was
Nancy's.
crazy, like super crazy. They had me running for my money this past week, so
Yeah.
that was kind of ugh. But the greatness was, oh my gosh, I didn't tell you guys. I have pretty much gotten majority of the stuff to build my like PC gaming setup situation.
Ah, that's
Oh.
exciting.
The only thing I still need to get is the computer itself.
Yeah.
But like the desk, the monitors,
Okay.
like
Mm.
even got like a light thing for my name.
What are you going to play?
Oh, so I definitely am going to dabble, not even dabble, do a lot of Sims.
Okay.
They like to call it TS4.
Okay.
So, yeah, the Sims. I want to get into Baldur's Gate. I think that's what
Baldur's
it's called.
Gate?
Baldur's
Great.
Gate.
Mhm.
Okay.
The newest one.
Yeah, I really want to get
good.
into that. Oh, there's a new one coming out, but I think it's only going to be on Xbox. So I'm kind of sad about that. But I think it's called like Midnight something or whatever.
I can't say I've heard about it.
don't know.
South of Midnight or something like that. That looks really good. But anyways, what I'm saying
That's
is
exciting,
I'm so
though.
close
Yeah.
to being able
New
to like
hobby.
have like setting up for like streaming if I wanted to on Twitch. And then
Yeah.
honestly, I want to get back to making YouTube videos. So check out for that. But that was the greatness of kind of like what I've been working on this past week as well.
Okay.
That's exciting. Yeah.
that
You've
is
talked about that for a
exciting.
long time. So it's like finally coming
Yeah.
into play.
Finally. So we'll
Yeah.
see. It's also the doing part too.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes into it, I know. But
For sure.
well,
Okay.
we are gonna get into it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Grim Reviews.
Yes, welcome.
Yes, I'm Bex.
I'm Cherish.
I'm Lizzie.
And this is a true crime podcast where we cover all things grim and gruesome, especially viral trending documentaries streaming on all different types of platforms. Today we're getting into, what was it, Sweet Bobby?
Sweet
Sweet
Bobby.
Bobby.
Sweet Bobby.
Sweet
My
Bobby.
We
Catfish
really
Nightmare.
enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Man.
It was good. It's
I
so
love
good.
a catfish story.
Yeah, and I mean, catfishing is not. This all happened in the UK. It's not necessarily a crime in the
They
UK,
say
but it's still pretty grim.
Sweet Bobby.
Sweet Bobby.
Well, it is a crime if you are impersonating someone else and taking
True.
someone else's identity.
True.
Well,
So-
and there's like sexual coercion.
yes,
So I feel like there are some crimes within
within it.
the crime.
sure.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that you could actually hold them accountable and
Absolutely.
maybe
It-
prosecute.
It almost
over-
seems like it depends on how far you go with it.
that is
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
Well,
this went far.
this one went far,
So far.
and I love the fact that it went far for us for entertainment because watching it was just like, oh, so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the main person, Krat, she definitely went through a doozy on this one. So I can't wait to get into the movie. Is it a movie? Is
It's
it
a film.
It's a
film?
film.
Whatever you call
documentary
it.
film.
And yeah, before you continue listening, just know we're gonna share all, so there's gonna be spoilers.
For sure.
Sure.
And you know what? If you guys don't like it, we've said it before, I'm definitely going to be making fun and lighthearted jokes throughout this whole entire sharing of opinions
Yeah.
and such. Because it's just, when it comes to catfishing, it just can get so like, girl.
Girl, share the tea.
I know. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, girl, like you just said, the naivety.
Naivete.
Naivete.
Guys.
That's not it. It's not that one.
You said naivete.
Yes.
Naivete.
It's Naivete.
It is?
Yeah.
That's what it's called?
Naivete.
Oh, that's kind of nice. I like how
No,
you said it.
It's not what you just said.
No, it's
naivete.
No, it's
Naivete.
not. Google it right now. I'm not even kidding.
Y'all.
Hold on.
Naivete sounds like
Naivete.
someone name.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause.
That's ridiculous. No. I refuse
I
to go along with
How do
this.
we even spell this?
I thought it was like naivety. or
No, it's
something.
Naivete. And I.
Naivete.
Okay. Shh, everyone.
Naivety.
I gotta trim the volume so
Yeah.
everyone can hear this.
Yeah, that's
okay?
right.
Okay, I'm gonna do it slow.
Naivete.
Naivete.
Oh!
Oh.
Oh!
No.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I would remember if it was
Listen.
naivete.
I don't call out people for a lot, but when I'm right,
Oh my
I do.
god! I can't believe how
Are we, like,
wrong
twin
I
flames
was.
right now.
Wait, I'm gonna do it one more time because I need to know this.
It's hard to take the loss.
She says it weird.
Naivete.
Naivete.
It's not even close.
Naivete.
No, not even close.
Naivete.
Like I definitely
now
knew
I
that
can't
there was
say
like
it.
that up and down of the vidi, like you know.
Naivete.
Yeah.
Anyway, naivete.
Well,
Okay, now
we'll
that
just
that's
steer
settled.
away from that. Oops. We'll just steer away from that word.
They were very naive. How's
Very
that?
naive. There we go. There we
Let's
go.
change
Thank
it
you. Very naive. But you know what? Okay, so let's get into it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Are you still like sulking over that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I hate to be wrong. I'm a poor loser.
Dang.
Poor sport. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so Kirat, she is, I believe, I want to say 28, 29 at this point in time. starts off where she's getting into like pretty much how she likes to be out on the scene.
Mhm.
She's an event planner. She's
on a radio.
on a
Yeah.
radio.
Mhm. She's
So
a cool
like
girl.
she's doing her
Yeah.
thing, you know. I think it's outside of and don't clock me too hard, but I truly think that like when it comes to her culture and being a part of the Sikh community that she talked about.
Sikh
Sikh.
community.
Oh my god.
I
bad.
did pronounce
kinda-
that correctly.
I kind of love the fact that it's. I wish it was Sikh, but I'll respect it. Sikh.
It's Sikh.
So she's a part of the Sikh community, and I know that when it comes to certain cultures, that like, you know, they want you to go on the certain path of like maybe a doctor, a lawyer, or like something that has more education behind it. And then when it comes to women specifically, marriage is very much like
Oh yeah.
strapulated to
You're supposed to get that
being a-
MRS degree.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Karat though, she is, I wouldn't say poor, she's living up her life, she's doing the things. She is having, I think she said she started to have a relationship with her boyfriend younger, though,
Yeah,
even younger,
She
on
called
and off.
him her partner
They were
Mhm.
on and
Yeah.
off for like
18
years.
years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
And she's known him since she was like young, like I
Mhm.
think
High
like a teen
school
or something.
something.
Yeah.
yeah.
So you know, she's just doing her thing or whatever. And I want to say this was back in a time also too when Facebook was
Starting up.
not starting up,
More
but like
trending?
booming.
You're
More
right.
Yeah,
trending. More
it was more
trending.
trending
Okay.
for sure, and
Mhm.
I feel like communication happened a lot more.
Yeah.
So throughout Facebook,
For sure.
and
More messaging on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean,
who
not
you
that
know,
that-
who you're connected to, how many friends you
Right.
have.
Mhm.
right. And it seemed
Oh,
like
yeah.
she was just she had a big social network, and it was also all based through family. So
Mhm.
like all
Right.
her family was very close with other families, and
Mhm.
they were friends with other people, and I feel like they
Right.
just like all connected like this huge community, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
Right.
Actually,
And
for
also
social
too,
media, I feel
it's
like
taking
but-
part in London. So I
Right.
love the fact that it's like in a different place, a different country outside of the United States.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just like a whole different perspective of,
Yeah.
you know, what she's gonna
What's
get into.
happening in
and
the
like,
social scene
But
back then.
a lot of
Yeah.
her contacts were from like Kenya too and stuff.
That's
So
yeah, I
it
thought that was wild. I was
Mhm.
like, wait, did I hear that right? But like yeah, like there's like a huge Sikh community in Kenya.
Mhm.
So I was just kind of like, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
cool. But it also kind of like showed how like, because she did mention how her community was like closer, like everybody
Yes.
knew pretty
Mhm.
much a friend of a friend or like a family member of this family member, like they're
Like
connected
if you
a
weren't
lot.
actually related, you felt like you were related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so happy. I don't know, in the beginning. I was just like,
It
wow, she has a really nice
was.
life. Like her
And
her
she's
boyfriend might not be
so-
all that, but
Right.
like she has such a good support
She's so
system. and
lively.
She
Yeah.
was
She
yeah.
She was lively.
Yeah, and her career was taking off in marketing. I thought the
Mhm.
radio show was so cool, and she definitely
was.
You could tell she
she
loved it.
and she had a
Yeah.
personality for it. You
Right.
could tell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think her family members and friends kind of backed her up on that, that she
Yeah.
had that personality where
Supporting
she
her
was
pursuits.
a little bit out of the
Right.
norm of what you expected in the culture, but
Mhm.
also I think a lot of people embraced that about her
I
and
think they
loved that about
supported
her.
her. Yeah.
Because like also too, I think she did a lot of like entertainment and stuff for like people's events and stuff
Right.
within the
Right.
community as well.
Yeah.
So she definitely was living, it seemed like for the most part, a positive life and everything like that.
Mhm.
But as we know with stories, they do take a turn. And the turn comes into play when she has a younger cousin that
Yeah.
is in high school
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
And she finds out that her baby cousin is started to dating someone new.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that person's JJ. His name is JJ at the time or
And-
whatever.
Yeah.
And essentially, like, she saw that on Facebook. She saw their relationship was live and that, you know, such and so was dating
And
such
this
so
was
or whatever.
real,
And it was
you
real.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
was
she
a real
was-
person.
She was happy for her baby cousin, who by the name, by the
Simran.
way, yeah, Simran's her name.
Mhm.
So
Simran.
yeah, she
Which
was
I'm not
really
gonna lie, I
happy for
kind of like that
them,
name.
and- Yeah, I feel like
Kinda do.
yeah, I feel like it is a cool name. Not gonna lie.
It's unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
correct too. Like, I mean, I
the
don't
way
know.
you say it makes me happy.
How do you say it?
I'm just saying kiret.
It could be
Kirit.
Kirit too.
Kirit.
I don't really
It
know.
almost sounds Japanese the way you sound,
Oh.
way you say it.
Oh, really?
Kirit.
Dang.
Well, I'm trying.
I watch a lot of
guys.
anime.
I'm
so I don't
trying.
Well, no, so what kind of gets me though is, cause that's first of all says like, okay, I know of Bobby she knew of him.
Booby.
She heard of him. Booby.
I'm gonna say it about
She-
1,000
yeah, I
times
know.
this
Booby.
episode.
Booby. I'm sorry. Okay, I had to get it out.
Heard booby.
Booby.
So like she knew of him because of like their community and how they were connected, but she didn't know too much of him. But JJ connected her to
Yes.
Bobby because JJ and Bobby are brothers.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I think that like when it came around somehow, they didn't really give a timeline to how long Simran and JJ were together, but
Yeah, I didn't
essentially
say.
but essentially JJ ends up dying from an allergic reaction. And so that's why she ends up saying, I'm so sorry to hear that, Simran. And essentially, she ends up asking, or Simran gives Bobby's information. That's how they connected
Why don't
originally
I
as
remember
friends.
this?
I don't remember this at all. I'm looking at you and I'm like, I'm drawing blanks.
It's
I'm
because
like,
I
wait,
did
JJ
research because
died?
I did research because they never said how exactly she ended up friend
Look at
requesting.
you.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Because I was just like, how did she connect with Bobby?
And
Like,
I
did
watched
she just
the
send a
first
friend
part
request?
twice. I swear. I do not remember that. That's
Yeah.
so weird.
So
Wow.
that's the
JJ
crazy part.
Actually died.
No.
No, he
No,
didn't
no, no, no.
actually
No, he
die.
did. Okay,
That's
okay.
what
Don't
Simran
spoil it
told
for
her.
everyone yet. But okay.
Simran told her that he
JJ
died
Okay.
or
I
like
just don't
whatever
remember her
of
saying
allergic
that.
reaction, and so
Okay.
therefore she wanted to give her condolences to Bobby.
Okay.
So
that's how they
she reaches
connected.
out to Bobby and pretty much is like, "Da da, I'm so sorry," but of
Mm.
course the information that she gets is Bobby.
Booby.
Well,
You know.
Okay.
So that's how her and Bobby starts talking and connecting, is because through condolences of giving to her brother or his brother and stuff like
That
that.
makes sense.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Starts off as friendship though, which to be honest with
Right.
you,
Bravo.
she was in there thirsty hoe. And
Yeah.
also on top of that, she wasn't though.
Good
she
job.
was holding on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Hey,
I
no
feel like,
judgment, but I will say I personally would rather be friends with someone first, like really get to know them before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally,
Yeah.
ideally.
yes.
Because it fosters like a deeper connection, I think,
Yeah.
like initially, and
Yeah.
then it
You
can
care about
turn
each
into something
other,
else.
right.
But also
Yeah.
too, she was in an on and off like relationship. So
And he was
she
married
wasn't.
at the time.
Yeah, he was
Uh-huh.
married
Yes,
on his
married.
profile. So
Right.
she probably wasn't going into it thinking like, ooh,
This
Bobby.
is gonna be something.
Right.
Right.
No, it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, this is a nice like family connection,
Yeah.
and I'm just getting to know them better, and
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like essentially they like were talking for on and on Facebook messaging. And remember, like this is back in the day, like around like what 2009, something like that. I can't remember.
it was like 2010. You're close.
Something like
It was
that.
Yeah, because
10.
they met at a club, so they were talking to each other back and forth, like on Facebook Messenger or whatever,
Mhm.
for 4 months before she bumped into him at
Right.
a club in Brighton.
Right.
And he didn't recognize her.
He didn't.
Yeah,
But he
she-
did turn to Bobby when she was like, "Hey, Bobby, this
Right,
is
For
me."
me,
right.
turned to, yeah.
But
He
yeah,
didn't recognize her.
So he
But-
acknowledged that yes, he was Bobby,
right.
but while they were dancing and stuff, Kirat was like, "Oh, he didn't."
we've been talking
recognize
on
me.
Facebook,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
don't recognize me.
And then
Right.
she just excused it for, well, it's really loud in the club, and
He
he
could be
seems
drunk.
like
He
he's
could be a
little bit, like,
buzzed,
yeah.
and like everyone's
Right.
having a good time, so like I get it, and so she just kind of let that interaction go.
And I get that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it, but I don't get it
crazy.
because if I'm talking to someone,
You'd be like, eyes on me. You
well, it's
remember
not
me?
even eyes on me. It's like, like, oh, you don't remember me? Like, hey. And then you kind of look at him like, hey.
What is he doing that?
No,
But
like,
if it was only 4 months, maybe I wouldn't. If it was like, did you say it was about 4 months?
It was 4 months.
4 months is
I-
a,
I
I
feel
don't know, that's a
I
lengthy
don't
time
think it's a
of
length
talking
of time.
back and
I think
forth.
it's the environment for me because clubs, like
That's
how
true.
crazy
That's
was
true.
it? You know what I mean? What I think is weird is that she didn't bring it up after the interaction, where it was like, "Hey, it was so good seeing you last
Yeah.
night."
Well,
that
maybe
was,
she
you know what?
did.
She maybe she did,
Maybe
and
she
he
did.
literally was like, she played it off like, or he, oh, like sorry, like I was intoxicated, and he like really like confirmed it that like, oh, okay,
influence that perspective.
I don't know. That's
maybe.
a good point. Yeah.
It's a good
Did
point.
that ever get
Well,
collabed?
It
you
But
know?
she said she never brought it up after that.
she did,
Okay.
she did,
She did say
Okay.
that.
Yeah, she did
So,
bring
and
it
I
up.
think that's what's weird because I would have been like, "Hey, it was so crazy seeing you at the
I
club
agree.
yesterday."
Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you remembered because you were like,
If you
kind of
continue
blagging
to
on
talk
me.
to them, you'd be like, hey,
Yeah.
I saw
Right.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I
Right.
think
That is a
that's
little
strange
strange.
on her part that she didn't reintroduce like that
Right.
interaction to also remind him. I don't know.
I
like,
agree.
wish something would have occurred at that moment where it was like, oh, remember to do that thing. Don't forget. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I know we bumped into each other last night, but don't forget to do that thing that we talked about. Remember?
I think
And then they'd be like, what? Right. Like, or just
Yeah.
like set it up in a way where it's like he definitely would have had to been there physically in order to like remember what she talked about. But it never
Yeah.
was that type of interaction, and it never was
No.
like
I don't know. There
Yeah.
was a lot of moments missed, especially in the
was.
beginning.
missed opportunities.
And again, it makes you. I really didn't want to judge her the whole time, but there
Yeah.
are moments that I'm like, how did you not catch that?
well, so okay. And we'll continue because the reason why I don't
Mhm.
think she caught it so quickly is because
Yeah.
I don't think her brain was throughout the time that they started talking and like continued talking.
Mhm.
I don't think her brain switched over to romantic yet.
No, it was
That's
So
true.
I think it was
friends
just like
talking.
a friend
Yeah.
talking, like being there. I don't
Yeah.
even think that they were really talking like throughout the day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an
So-
occasional checking up on each
It
other.
was. And so I think she was just like, oh, like he's a part of the community. I imagine too, like outside of him, imagine other people that was probably using Messenger and like talking like
Mhm.
as friends throughout time too. So
Right.
she probably just put him in that bucket
Yeah.
and didn't think anything of it.
Nice guy, but he's married. I'm with someone. I'm not trying to
Right.
pursue anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Hold up.
it's not until when he reaches out and tells her that he's getting a divorce.
Yeah.
That's when
That's
I'm
when
like,
it starts to
oh,
shift.
that's when the shift
Percolating
happened.
a
Yeah.
little bit.
The
Yeah.
shift happened because I could tell when she was talking about it in the documentary that when he told her that she was getting a divorce, she didn't even have to say it.
Yeah.
She thought I knew she was like, oh,
Ding,
wait,
ding.
this might be an
Potential-
opening, a
yeah.
potential.
We're friends. He's attractive.
Right.
Okay.
She doesn't really admit to that though.
No, she
At
doesn't.
this
She
point.
doesn't,
But she
but-
might have not even acknowledged it to
I know.
herself, like during that time. Like you
Yeah.
could be in complete denial, like, oh, he's just a friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a friend.
I could see it
It's
on her
not like
face.
that,
When I was
okay?
watching
Yeah.
it, I could see it on her face because when, like later
You
on,
recognize
they
it.
were talking and stuff, and
Mhm.
then out of nowhere, he's like, "I got engaged."
Well, it was so actually.
It did seem like it was disappointing.
It was
to
a
her
year
when he
after his
got
divorce.
engaged.
Well,
Well,
a year.
yeah, and they were kind of talking on and off
Right.
because right after his divorce, they actually took a few months like hiatus. Like she didn't hear
Yeah.
from him,
Right.
and then when he had opened up about the divorce, though initially, she kind of opened up about her relationship
Right.
issues. So
Yeah.
that's when kind of like
Mhm.
they started to have like a
More
deeper
intimate, yeah.
connection because
Yeah.
they were sharing stuff about their
My
personal
partner
lives.
sucks. My partner sucks.
Yeah, I get
Let's
it.
just
Yeah,
be
I don't-
together. Just kidding.
Let's bond over this.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah, so when he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm engaged," after this like hiatus, she was just like, "Okay."
She was
Yes,
surprised.
you could tell she
Yeah.
wasn't like thrilled about it.
right.
I feel like
right.
she was sad about
She
it.
was because it's just like I've been here the whole time.
So he said that he
Right.
met this girl named Sanj.
Sanj.
Yeah.
Sanj. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
But
was really pretty.
she
I
was
thought.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
the same thing.
I
Like
thought she
dang.
was.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they were a beautiful couple.
They
They were
were.
really
yeah.
pretty.
Yeah.
So
Girl, stop doing that. Okay. So essentially,
Yeah,
I was like,
no,
yeah,
so
Sanj
like
is really
anyway,
pretty.
they met. So he like got
You're,
engaged
like,
to
really
Sanj. So you agree? You think you're really pretty? But no, like okay, so he gets engaged to Sanj, and then
Mhm.
she's just like, "I'm so happy for you! Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Yeah,
Well,
okay, girl."
like her message was
yeah,
like, I'm feeling so many emotions
Right,
or something like that. I was
yeah.
like, yeah.
yeah, I bet you are.
Yeah.
Because she's
That
like,
covers
when is
it.
it my turn?
Well, yeah,
It's a
it's
little
so
sad. It's a
that
little sad.
that's what I felt. Yeah, like
'Cause,
when is it my
everyone's
turn?
getting married around her. Like
Yeah.
she's attending all these
Wanted-
weddings and stuff, and then
Right.
it's like, okay.
And
Yeah.
we're clocking in. Let's see, like they've been talking for what is it? I think that this has
Like
been
4
up to like
years?
2 to 4 years somewhere
Yeah.
talking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, at this point, it's just like, I don't know if she's fully transmitted over to romantic, but I know she's probably thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
At this
okay,
point, it
he
feels
could
like
be,
she's thinking about
he's
it.
a potential
Mm-hmm.
person that I could really connect with him. We could be something more, but she's not going to
Right.
admit to that. She's not going to say it.
Right.
And now that he's got engaged to somebody new, she's like, you know, a pretty person, and he seems super happy.
Right.
Then it's just like, okay. And then also, too, they live in Kenya, or they're in Kenya.
Yeah.
Right?
Bobby
So-
is in Kenya. Yeah.
And Karat is in London.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of like, that's hard logistics to figure out as well.
Right.
So it's like he's moving on with his life. He's found happiness again.
I think too, it hit her hard because like things aren't progressing with her partner. Like she said that there were so many times that they would almost be to the point of getting married, and then he would back out, and then somehow you'd like pull her back in, and they would go back to that same spot of okay, almost getting
so
married.
sucky.
Because she
And
was
they
like,
didn't.
well, I went back to him because he was comfortable. It was what
Right,
I
she's
knew.
been with him
And
for
that's-
years.
I feel like that's probably relatable for a lot of
Absolutely.
women because it's just like, well, this is what I know. This is what I'm comfortable with, so I'm going to stay here instead of like challenging themselves or trying something
you look
different.
at much
you
as
know?
you invested in that person, and
Yeah,
how much you put
18
into
years
that,
is
but
a
you're-
long time.
You don't want to waste, like, feel like that time has
is.
gone wasted.
Right.
You
And
know?
granted, too, like around this time, too, like sure, like when it has started, she was in her like later 20s, and now it's like she's getting into her early 30s, but she still has a lot of time
She's
on her
feeling that-
hands to like still find another person and move on and stuff like that. But
she's feeling
still,
that
like,
biological
she's not.
clock ticking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
But you know, I feel her.
Yeah, like
You
I
know?
mean, I feel that too. Shoot, I'm 32. But like at the end of the day, like you can't like sit there and just be like, oh, I'm gonna stick with this person because this is the best I'm gonna get, or like
Right.
like I'm not gonna find anybody else. I don't know
Right.
if she was that desperate, but I do think that the comfortability of it all was just like,
It's
okay, I've invested my time and I know this person, so like
Yeah.
it has to happen at some point,
But
right?
it's not just the comfortability. Said that right. But it's
Words are hard, okay?
Words are hard today. It's
Yeah.
fine. But it's also like the peer pressure that she's getting from like the
Her
societal
family.
expectations
Right.
of her community, of her
Yeah.
family, who want the best for her, but they are putting like adding that.
They're like, we
pressure.
want you
for
to
sure.
be happy but married.
But
It's
you
also
know,
somebody that
like-
like her
But serious
family has
face
known for
married.
years too. So I know too that like it's not just their relationship, it's also the relationship that he has with like the family and like friends and stuff like that.
Right.
And people get kind of attached to the idea of like this is who you're gonna marry.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I mean, I felt for her for that. But things get even more wilder while watching this because out of nowhere she finds out that poor Bobby
Well, baby.
gets
Bobby.
shot 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever
Well, she finds
reason.
it out on Sanj's Facebook, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they follow each other on Facebook, and
Uh-huh.
Sanj and her had actually communicated a few times with just friendly rapport.
Right,
and
right,
whatnot.
right.
But yeah,
Well, Bobby recommended that they be friends.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay,
Okay.
I
Anything
guess.
for you,
I'll
Bobby?
be friends with my crush's wife. I'm just kidding. She didn't say that. But
But yeah,
mean, I
he's
imagine.
shot in the hospital.
Mhm.
May not
Critical.
make it. Critical.
Yeah.
Coma.
so she reaches out to her cousin
Simran.
because she needs to get more information of what's going on.
Mhm.
yeah,
And
Simran's
Simran,
there.
of course, because Simran's there, Simran has more closer ties to like the family and what's going on and stuff like
Why
that.
wouldn't you talk to her?
Right.
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, like it's not doing good, but at the same time, like he's still alive or whatever.
I think he's
and
in a coma.
yeah,
Right.
like
Yeah, he's
yeah.
in a coma.
yeah, he's still
Mhm.
alive. He's in critical condition or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly who told her that he ends up flying to New York and ends up being in the witness protection program.
Yeah.
I think that was
That
him.
kinda got
that was
lost.
when he came out of the coma. I'm pretty sure he told her because he messaged her when he was out of the coma, and then he
Okay.
told her that he reached out to her on a different Facebook account
Mm.
because but to protect his identity
Right,
or whatever.
right.
And because witness protection told him to that he was transferred to New York in a
Mhm.
different hospital recovering from his
Yeah.
injuries.
But
In witness protection.
I
But yeah.
remember he was like, oh, like, she was like, oh, he said that, like, he wasn't supposed to do it, but he did it anyway because he just needed to contact me and get a hold of me.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, nobody in the WPP would do that.
No, I feel
Again,
like they
like
take
red
all-
flags. That guy on Facebook, big
Yeah.
red
Right.
flags. Like
Yes. Oh my gosh.
He's like, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because for you, I will. Not my wife,
yeah,
but for
it
you.
wasn't
Just for
recommended,
you.
but I'm doing it anyway. Yeah.
Right.
God.
And it's just like, okay, like, when it got to the point where he was like, yeah, like a bit bad business deal went bad, I like something or whatever.
And we didn't even get into what he apparently did for a living, but he was actually a heart cardiologist.
Yes,
So
yes.
why would you have a bad business dealing and get shot 6 times?
Because he was just in some shady business with other people. Doing
Yeah,
other
they didn't
stuff.
really explain that.
Well, he was lying, obviously. So like he's
Because
not
he wasn't he.
right.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where like this is where you start to be like, girl.
At the
Start
same time,
questioning
though,
some
it was
things.
discussed that in Kenya, like where they were living, it was very like shootings and murders
Yep,
were
that
very
is-
common. So
that's
it wasn't a wild story. What was wild is that he was placed in witness protection and transferred
and moved to New York.
to New York.
was-
Out of
Because
all
I'm sure
places,
other
come on.
people didn't get that treatment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was apparently, from what social media
Like a big to-do
visualized,
family.
Yeah.
very well-to-do family. So it's like, oh, I guess he just got special treatment compared
Right.
to everybody
Right.
else that gets shot over there.
Maybe
So-
like one
That's
of
true.
these situations is viable, but all of them together,
It
it's a
just
lot.
doesn't.
It's a big story. It's like a
It's a
movie.
huge
Yeah.
story.
Mhm.
It's such a movie. And to be honest with you, I think that like she was so concerned for him that
Mhm.
it rode over logic. Like it,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
She cared about him.
She cared
yeah.
about his well-being, and I think that like you're seeing it on his wife's post. Her baby cousin has confirmed that this is in fact true. This has all
Mhm.
happened.
She's been giving him updates.
Then it's just like even though the
Right.
story is so like wild, it's also like there are people
She's
that
getting
she's
support from other
trusting
people.
that's confirming
yeah,
it.
It's true.
And then
Yeah.
not only that he's also like now adding in more people to the pot to kind of like give her more information, but also like so she can have reassurance that this is being worked on.
Mhm.
He's gonna get the help that he needs
Yeah.
and the recovery that he needs and like all that type of stuff. So
Right.
I think she's so fixated on like, let's go for a solution and let's make things better, that she's not like, wait a second,
Right.
what did you say that what hospital?
Right.
That
it's
type
a
of
lot
like,
of blind faith for
And
sure.
yes, and then he continues to draw her in, I feel like, by just making it worse, or like
Mhm.
continuing to update her with different conditions. Like so during his time in witness protection at the hospital, he was feeling suicidal because of
Oh.
his physical condition, and so she
Mhm.
felt
Right.
like she needed to be there for him, and so he
Right.
was kind of emotionally leaning on her during that point in time.
She didn't
and
want to
then-
abandon him and make his condition worse.
let's also
Yeah,
bring
so
in the fact that like he also said that his wife pretty much had enough of it.
Yeah, so
and
Sanj
left.
divorced him, and then
Yeah.
he was feeling suicidal at the same time. So
Mhm.
she felt like she was his
Yeah.
crutch.
Well,
his
yeah, and he
emotional
also
crutch,
would
for
tell her
sure.
like, "Oh my goodness, you're an amazing woman,"
But
and
thank you so
like
much for
you,
doing
yeah,
this.
thank you
for
so
being
much
in
for
my life. I don't know what I would do
Yeah.
without you.
Yeah, like that type of verbatim. And so it's just kind of like, not only are you having concern for that person, but that also that person is putting that
It's
as your
emotional
role now
manipulation.
to
Yes,
be that person
but
in
it
his
also
life.
gives them that sense of validation that that Kirit's been looking for and doesn't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
looking.
She's been searching for that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, to be a rock in
Right.
a man's life, and she is being
Right.
that, even though they're not official yet or haven't
Right.
Yeah.
developed feelings for each
Right.
other at this point.
And,
So-
and he was smart. Like he brought her into his inner circle of his friends. So like he had
Yeah.
friends, I can't remember their names, but he called the group chat the Three Amigos because
Mhm.
they just wanted to like, have like this
Update each other, have one
yeah.
platform to go back and forth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh wow, like I'm talking to his besties.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they love me. And then all of a sudden he's saying that he might have feelings for me.
But this was after she officially broke up with her boyfriend that had been
Yes.
on and off for
Right.
18
But then
years.
he springs, "Oh, I love you."
Yeah.
On her, and she just completely ignored it.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think it was kind of sudden. Wasn't there an event that occurred right when he said that, or I don't know.
I'm not really sure if there was an event that
I thought it was just kind
happened,
of
but I think
sporadic.
what it was is she thought of it as kind of like knowing his nature of
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, that's just Bobby being Bobby.
Oh, it was
Mhm.
after 5 years of online friendship. He
Yeah.
just said, "I love you too
5 years.
much."
Yeah.
Yeah, and this whole
Because
time,
she was like being there for him, like through it all.
right, and throughout that
Mhm.
time, it's like not only is she interacting with him, but like you said, like these other connections of his, and
Yeah.
they made like the Three Amigos chat, and so it was
Mhm.
Yash, who
Yeah.
was his cousin,
Yash
and then
Veer.
yes, Yash Veer, and then I don't remember the name of the specialist
I don't
that came
either.
in that was like
Mhm.
giving her updates
Right.
about like his medical condition and all that, which I thought was weird. That would have been a little red alert for me because I'm like,
How do you
if
know
you're
everything,
working
yeah?
within witness protection or you're working within this hospital, why are you talking to me too?
Right.
Like,
And how
why
did
are
you
you part
have,
of a
like-
Three Amigos
yeah.
chat? How are you his friend? And
It's a little sketch.
you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that character right there for me would have been like, I don't know about you.
And she shared
Yeah.
her skepticism about him professing his love and stuff. And
To
then
the
they
Three
came
Amigos.
in and they're
Yeah.
like, oh no, I think it's true.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
talks
like,
about
no.
you all the time.
He's
yeah.
for real, for real.
Yeah.
Right.
For real,
No.
for real. Nuh-uh.
You
He
need
like-
for real.
like
He
likes you.
yeah.
He
He likes
likes
you. And she's like, oh shoot. Like if his friends are saying it or like his closest like, companions are
Right.
saying that, then it must,
must
be
be
true.
true.
And you have Simran encouraging it too.
I wonder
You know?
why.
She's
Yeah.
she's like, no, like I can tell he really cares about you and he
Right.
loves you. And
How do
should
you know
believe
that,
him.
Simran? Are you talking to him?
Well, the crazy thing is like, okay, this is a little flash forward, but when she talks about being like at lunch with her cousin and like she's talking to Bobby over here, and then her cousin checks her watch and is answering basically
like,
as
later
Bobby. I
on.
was like,
Yeah.
man, I don't know if I would have caught that.
I don't think I would
don't
have
know,
either.
probably
People,
not.
Yeah.
people are always on their electronic devices when
Yeah.
talking to other people.
But what are
Like,
the odds? It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it just
In
you-
hindsight, you'd be like, oh man.
like, it
Right.
was happening right in front of my
Right in
face,
front of
and
me.
I
You didn't even see it.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
I would be so angry at myself. I think.
Because she probably didn't think that, like, in no world is my little cousin
No.
messaging, pretending to be
That's
somebody
weird.
else.
No.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, out of...
Disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But another red flag at this point during the film was when he started experiencing a stroke while messaging her. I'm like, no, you're not.
Mhm.
Like,
No,
I can't
you're
feel
not.
anything.
Yeah, I can't feel anything.
You feel anything? And then just, gone for a while. That was weird.
That I'm like, come on. you
Again,
don't see it
it's-
at that point. He's totally, even if he was a real person, he's playing with you at this point. There is no
Right.
way you're
I
going through
agree.
a stroke and just texting someone while
Right.
it's happening.
Yeah.
No, I'd be calling 911 or, oh, you're in a hospital. So like,
Yeah.
shouldn't
Yeah.
you just like press that red button and get it taken care of? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's wild to
Quit-
me is...
Quit messaging me and ask a nurse.
Yeah.
What's wild to me is that, like, she couldn't get him on a video call this whole entire time. That would... You would have
Yeah.
lost me. First of all, you would have lost me a long time ago.
Is
Not-
there witness
but-
protection?
Well,
Like,
not
they
just
said they-
recording.
It doesn't
though,
matter.
Then he lost his voice.
Yeah,
He
Well,
couldn't
yeah,
talk
yeah.
to her.
He
He's
lost his voice, then he
paralyzed.
started to
Yeah.
whisper.
The horse whisper,
Her
over
whisper, and then-
Skype
I wonder
Yeah,
what
yeah.
that
or
sounded like.
Zoom.
I know.
Because the mom
Well, he
said it was
started
very
tapping
weird.
though too, and like doing grunting at first to like confirm
Like,
that she
what
was
are
saying,
you doing
like,
over there?
Right?
Okay.
Stop. But no,
What is
it's
happening over there?
it's just like
I don't
you-
want to know.
I don't know how she did it, honestly. I don't know how she really fathomed to herself that, like, I've been at this point emotionally and romantically involved with this person, and I still can't see them video chat.
Right.
Nor have you seen him videos of him at all, recent videos.
Right. They're
Yeah.
old pictures.
All just old pictures, yeah.
videos. Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, girl, like, you're really just, like, living off of that one time you saw him at the
don't-
bar.
Yeah. You don't ask for more. You wouldn't
Right.
be like, take a picture, you know, I don't know, doing something specific or.
Right. And you don't ask
don't
yourself,
know.
like, okay, like, even though this is the situation that he's in and all that type of stuff, what do I need in a relationship? Like, although,
Mhm.
like, he's where he's at, even if it's true or not, like, I want someone that I can go and see.
I need
That
more.
I can, all
Right.
this type of stuff. Like, I just kind of feel like what she needed and wanted, that's when it started to go out the window.
Well, kind of, because it was like she would be like, well, I do want to see you. I do want this to happen. And then he would find another reason
Mm-hmm.
to
So
not.
many
And then she would, and she
excuses.
was so patient.
So,
And then she would
Too
talk to the
patient,
others and Simran, and
arguably.
they'd be like, no, you just need to trust him. Like, you've
Right.
got this. This will happen. And then you have the specialist going, I'm going to try
But
to
at
get him
some
out of here
point-
as soon as I can. And then Bobby proposes to her. And
some
so he's
point
like,
she
now I
should have, like,
promised
told herself,
marriage.
like, I don't
Mhm.
think that this is something good. Like, when he proposed, I think she should have been more so kind of like, I don't think that we should be
I think
thinking
we
of
should meet
proposal
first.
until
She
Yeah.
was
like
so
you
caught
get
up
out.
in the delusion.
Yeah, she was
But
caught up.
There was
Yeah.
some, like, not meeting her and him, like, she didn't want that, like, oh, I need to meet you first before we marry.
Yeah.
But it was basically when she told her parents, her mom was like, well, no, she told her mom. She didn't tell her dad.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
her mom was like, no, your dad needs to meet him first.
Yeah.
before
And let's
this
talk about the dad
happens."
for a second. He had
Yeah.
like zero reaction to anything throughout the whole story until
Yeah.
the very end. I was like, dude's got some stories. He's seen
The
it
dad
all.
just seemed super disappointed in the whole situation, not in like her daughter, just like the whole situation that like took place.
Well, he was kept out of the loop
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Like he maybe would have been able to pick up on some red flags
and be like,
or
no,
could
you're
have had
not
a
doing this.
say in
Yeah.
something, but they didn't allow him because Bobby had tricked
Yeah.
even Curat's mother because
Right.
he was
Right.
like, no, I want to surprise him and all
He
this.
Yeah.
I have to keep
Bobby
it a
starts
secret.
messaging her mom, which is
so
wild.
weird. So she's
Wild.
also a victim.
Her aunt.
Yeah.
Isn't that her aunt?
Well, and her one, I
Yeah.
don't know if it was, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. That one friend, it might have been another cousin or something, that would like join in on the phone calls.
That was another cousin of hers.
That was
Yeah,
another cousin.
that
The other
was a
cousin,
cousin
she
of
got
hers.
duped because
Yeah.
she said that she was asking him
she-
about health concerns because he's supposed to be a cardiologist.
Right.
Yeah.
So she would tell him about like personal things that she would be dealing with.
Intimate things.
Yeah,
right.
and he would be giving her advice, and so she really
totally
liked him
forgot
for
about
that
that.
because she's like,
Mhm.
oh shoot, like not only is like this someone that's interested in my cousin
cousin's
Karat, but also
boyfriend.
somebody that is smart and
That
willing
I
to be
can
helpful and I
connect
can
with.
confide in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, he's really just duping everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And everyone's just so excited that she finally got proposed to somebody, but it's
Mhm.
still
That
kind of
it's
like in the
finally
same.
happening.
It is, but it's also the same situation where it's just like, nope, she's stuck.
Yeah.
There's no moving forward. Like she might have gotten a different proposal through the drawing pad on the.
Oh,
Oh,
let's
my
talk about
gosh.
that.
Oh boy.
Girl, like you're so sorry, girl. You are so desperate that you took a proposal through the drawing pad app or whatever thing that was.
pretty bad.
It was a little immature.
So cringe.
Yeah.
That was the
Pretty
exact
much.
one too that they showed on there.
Oh,
that
was it
it was
really?
like that they
That little
whatchamacallit,
rose
yeah, because
thing?
she
Was it?
yeah.
Okay.
And like I'm just like, dang, that wasn't even good.
no.
I mean, I guess it could be cutesy and charming if it was something other than a proposal. Like
yeah,
just saying,
maybe
hey, I love you.
Maybe will
But
you be my girlfriend?
let's-
Maybe.
Let's up it a little bit for a proposal.
Yeah,
Let's give a
really.
little more
Yeah.
effort.
Or will you be my Valentine? I see that.
Right,
being a
that's
little bit
cute.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
But I don't know for a proposal.
For
If this
marriage.
is a real situation and he couldn't see her. Can't you just send over a ring or something and then like,
Right,
be
that would've
on
been a mo-
Skype while she's opening the box or like
a picture
really,
of a ring.
He could have
yeah.
tried harder.
A
like-
little bit. That was low effort.
This is
So
the
low
bare
effort
minimum, and
energy.
she ate it up.
He could at
It's
least
so
coughed over the
sad.
mic like I wish I could. I wish I could do more for you, honey bun. But
Yeah.
she like I think that like I don't know. Like looking back at a lot of it, I think she's just like
I think
what
she
in
was
the world?
desperate
You
for
could
it to
tell.
be her time and really ignored a lot of red
Yeah.
flags.
Well, here's another red flag. The fact that she finds out that Sanj is expecting a baby. And she's like, what the heck?
And you
Yeah.
know why that had to happen.
Well, yeah.
Because the real person
Right.
was
Had a
still
baby.
married and had a
Had a baby.
baby.
Yeah.
And they're like,
so that was happening.
She's
in
like,
real
I don't want
time.
this to get
In
out,
real
so I
time.
need to like figure out a
Right.
reason for it.
uh-huh.
Yep.
So
And-
Bobby had to basically admit to her that, and like, no, I did sleep with her like 7 or 8 months ago, and
Right.
That's how it happened.
it was
Yeah.
before they were romantically involved.
yeah, or just before.
Right. Just
Yeah.
before. That's what he said. Because it was
Mhm.
like they got proposed and whatever and stuff like that. But then it's just like, but yeah, you slept with her still within that time frame that you were supposed to be like away. Like
The
separate
interesting
and
part
all that type
is
of stuff.
that
So how did that happen?
Yeah. How did
Uh,
Sanj see you for a little one night fling at witness
Right.
protection, but I can't see you?
I mean, I don't know
Right.
the timeline on it. I guess it could have still happened right before he got shot, but I don't think
Maybe.
so.
I don't think so. I think it was after. Because
Yes.
he had admitted, like, while they
Right.
were kind of a thing,
Right. Well,
he had
no.
slept with Sanj, right?
No. He said that like it happened before him and her like professed
Okay.
their feelings and stuff.
But
or
still, I
whatever.
think she still felt this deep sense of betrayal.
yeah.
Because it was like, wow, I've been for him. I've been
Right.
here for him night and day.
And
Right.
you can't even be real with me.
But
Yeah.
she's the one who gets to have a baby. with
Right.
him.
Well, and then she
I
gets a
don't.
little jealous of Sanj.
And bitter.
Yeah, and she's like, I can accept your child, but I can't accept Sanj in the picture.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I think honestly is a little unrealistic because
Very
that's the mother of your
unrealistic.
child.
Because
You're-
that's co-parent. Like,
Right, that's
you're gonna have
co-parenting.
to-
You
that's
can't literally
healthy
take
to
someone's
do.
baby
Right.
away.
No.
Right.
No.
And I think that's how she was trying to word it. And I was like, it's
I-
not
Like,
gonna work that
I'll
way,
raise
girl.
your baby. Well, that's not how
Right,
that works.
yeah,
It's
that's how she was looking at
not.
it.
Yeah,
It was
that
pretty unhealthy,
That part
honestly.
was weird, and then I thought it
I
was
agree.
weird that he was talking about baby names with her.
Right.
Like if you're having a baby with
It's
someone
not your
else,
baby.
that's not a conversation to have with
No.
Garrett.
Right.
That's a conversation to have with Sanj.
Absolutely.
That's completely inappropriate.
The fact
Or
that she
shopping
went
for
along-
baby
yeah, like
clothes.
shopping-
I thought that was
That
out
was
of
weird.
line.
It was so out of line.
That's-
I was like,
no.
girl, I know you really want a baby and you want a husband and you want it all to yourself, but you really, really gotta.
You need to
like,
do
can't
it
share
right.
here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't
You
share
gotta wait
here.
until it's your turn.
Yeah.
So
That part grossed me out for
Yeah.
both parties.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of, lends to the fact that like she, where it looks like she's naive, there were things like the baby clothes matching up. Like she picked
Yeah.
them out online, and then all of a sudden she sees a picture of the baby in the outfit. So
Yeah.
right.
And then
it's
she
kind of
would-
like, okay, maybe this is real.
Right, and then she was
Mhm.
like happy that Sanj actually put the clothes on the baby, and
Mhm.
like I don't know. She was all she was
Yeah.
happy. It was like, oh, this is like a mutual thing between everyone. I'm like, no, if I were
No.
Sanj,
Yeah.
I'd be like, excuse me,
Yeah.
what did Kira
You're-
want to name
Well, I
my
think-
child?
Right. I'm sorry.
I kind of low think that
Yeah.
it was like a power thing. Like, oh, like I have control over the situation and I
Mhm.
know that like whatever me and Bobby choose together, that's what's gonna go down.
And
So I-
especially
She was a little delusional.
yeah,
little bit.
but that makes the control perspective, that makes a lot of sense just because everything else was so out of her control. It's
That's
like
true.
this
Yeah.
is one thing
I
Yeah.
can
that
control.
we can
Yeah.
control.
Well, and remember what she said later on when the confrontation got. We'll talk about that, but she says something specifically that makes it really kind of creepy a little bit
What?
when she like finds the real people.
Yeah.
Well, she just kind of was like, "Oh, like I really
feel a
felt
deep
like
connection
the
to
deep
your
connection
son.
to your son."
Yeah, that was weird.
And it was just kind of like, girl,
Yeah.
like don't like at this point, like just let it go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
clearly
Like-
that's her baby. She's holding the baby. She's
Oh, they were
backing
freaked
away because she
out.
doesn't want you
Yeah.
to be around
Yeah.
her baby.
We'll get to that.
And so
scene,
you don't
but
say
yeah.
that, but like it just kind of brings to the fact that it wasn't the I'm a part of their family. It was more like no, like this baby is low key kind of like mine, and the choices that me and Bobby make together are the choices
Yeah.
that come to the child. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think she
It was
wasn't
a little
really wanting
strange.
Sanj to be in the picture, to be honest with you.
Right, which is
Yeah.
unrealistic because that's the mother.
Right.
So
Last time I checked, you didn't birth it, you
Yeah.
know. But I mean, granted, that all went down, but she still held on tight because he convinced her and manipulated her in the fact that he chose her, he wanted to
Mhm.
be with her. Because it did seem that she was kind of like on the fence of like, I don't think I can do this.
Well, she
I think I have to leave this
confided
alone.
in Simran
Mhm.
and the three amigos and told
They
them
kept
like,
pushing
hey, he did this to me, and they're like, no, we promise
Right.
he really cares about you,
Right.
You know, so she has all of
Yeah,
her friends
hang
still
on.
rooting for
It's-
them, and
it's
she's
still
like,
gonna
dang,
happen.
okay.
But
So
she
I
was
really-
reaching out to the wrong people.
She was, but she didn't know that. So at
Yeah.
this
Know
point in
that.
time, you can really see her mental health starting to take a plummet because she's like
Yeah.
fully riding that delusion and just.
I think when it really
staying
starts
on
to
the boat.
plummet her, mental health is when the connection or the like conversations with Bobby is constant. Like
Mhm.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden Bobby is escalating to the point of being abusive. Like
Oh,
let's
for
just call
sure.
it what it is.
Yes.
But wanting to, be on video chats at night
Right,
with her and then
right.
getting mad, like even if she left
To go to use
Right.
to
the
go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to control all of her
Wanting to
time.
know where did you go, where are you at, why aren't you in your
Mhm.
room, like things of that nature.
Even when
And
she's
then
at
she,
work, she has
Yeah.
the Skype on.
She even was so confused because she was like, I don't there was times I didn't understand why he wanted me to be back in his room when he wasn't even available to talk.
Right.
Right.
So she's like, well, I'm just sitting in my room doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
that's
she
not
felt,
fair.
I think she felt captive, and then she started to really
Absolutely.
isolate from her community,
Yeah.
and like not take care of herself. And you
Mhm.
Yeah.
start to see the film starts to share photos of her during this like 18
Oh my
month
gosh,
period.
that was so
It was
And
sad.
she was losing weight and not eating,
Yeah.
and like wasn't
She looked
her
sad
perky
in
self
her
anymore.
photos.
Much.
Yeah.
Some of the photos, I think she was
She
crying
was,
in, and I was
because
just
she
like,
would
girl.
send him videos of her crying and being
Right.
like, "You're doing this
need
to
to
me."
stop.
Like
Very
you're
much an abusive
hurting me.
relationship.
Yeah,
Very
so
much.
the emotional abuse was really taking
Yeah.
a toll on her mental health and even her physical
Yeah.
health.
Right.
And
So-
then what spiked it was the fact that her grandma, this got me. This
Oh, the
got me.
grandma,
This.
yeah.
The grandma, like when the grandma went down in health and she passed away and she expressed to Bobby that she really needed him to be there for her and all that type of stuff. And he was saying that he was going to be there and try to make it out and stuff like that. But then also too, the grandma was like, you know, as her health was going down, pretty much like knowing she's gonna die, was like,
She
I'm so
wanted-
sorry that I'm not gonna be there to see you and Bobby get married. And I'm like, bro.
Well, and then
Ugh.
also too, she wasn't able to go stay with the grandma all night
Right,
because she was so obsessed with like, okay, Bobby has to
Being
be
there for
there.
Bobby.
Yeah,
Right.
I have to
Yeah.
be there for Bobby. I
Right.
can't even go see
And
my
then he
grandma.
couldn't even
that,
be there for her.
that broke
Yeah.
my heart.
Ooh, she
Like,
started
that did
getting
break my
angry.
heart.
I think
Mhm.
that's when she
Yeah,
started
when he
getting
couldn't show up
mad.
because the grandma came, the funeral
And he
service came, he promised to
Right.
be there, he did not show up. And I think that is when you saw the shift happen
don't
She
mess
with
started to
Granny.
lash
Yeah.
back.
she was just like, oh my goodness, like I wanted one thing from you and for you to be there, especially now knowing that you're out of the witness protection program.
Right.
Mhm.
That's another thing.
You need to be
Like, how
able to
dare
make
you.
it here,
Mhm.
especially if you're saying you're a wealthy person. You're a cardiologist. You got all these things,
Yeah, show me.
resources. Why
Right.
can't you make it hop on a flight?
Mm-hmm.
Give me give me a good excuse. Oh wait, there's not one.
But
You know?
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, even when she was talking in the documentary, she really wasn't telling us exactly what he was specifically saying of why he couldn't make it. It was just like very well. That's why, because it
Just
was vague excuses.
Yeah.
Like, I can't make it this time around. Something's come up or whatever. Blah blah blah. And it's just like it's
Right.
garbage, 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 garbage.
Fill in the blank.
But then he
It's-
would still, during this time where she's angry and stuff, and like he'd be emotionally abusing her, then he would send her these like really nice gifts.
Yeah.
And
Love bombing.
flowers and
Yeah.
baskets. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then she was hoping, this might have happened a little before the grandmother's funeral, but I'm just remembering the t-shirt because she
Mhm.
needed that. She needed something that was touched by him.
Oh yeah.
Because
Mhm.
she wanted to see him so bad. And she's like, well, if this can't happen,
Oh,
need
yeah, I think
something.
And maybe that was her attempt of like, I need to see that this is real. I
So-
need at least
Mhm.
something physical
Yeah.
from you.
And this
Yeah.
was just, I think, just before he got out of witness protection. So
Okay.
Simran was in New York for her job because her career was up and coming. So she flew
Yeah.
out there a lot for work.
Mm.
So she asked Simran to pick up something of Bobby's. Do you
Yeah.
remember this? And
to
so
give it to her.
he
Yeah.
sprayed his shirt with
Okay, yeah, I
Axe.
remember that.
Yeah,
It smelled like
or
him. Yeah.
whatever. So, and then, which that doesn't make sense to me because it's like, it doesn't smell like you. It just smells like man's, like,
Well, she
your
doesn't
body
know if that doesn't
deodorant.
smell like
Yeah.
him, though. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
She doesn't
that's
know. She has
true.
nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Simran
That's true.
picked up the shirt from the hospital from him and then brought it to her, like in London.
Yeah,
next
she probably
time
got that
was
T-shirt and
there.
was like, my man, my
But-
man, my man.
But then her cousin sitting there like, I did this. It's
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cringe.
It's really cringe. But I just like that just popped in my head. I was like,
You know,
ooh.
I have
Yeah.
to say they did a really good job of like going with the story and like, cause you know, they had to have said, the producers had to be like, okay, tell me the story as if you don't know the ending. You know what I mean? Tell me
Right.
how you were feeling.
We
Right.
can't even do that. Right?
It's
just-
hard,
it
but
is
I
hard.
felt like they did a really good job
They did.
of you know
Keeping it
keeping the suspense
suspense.
going, and you
Yeah.
didn't know. She really seemed like she was living in that moment, so I
Mhm.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Very much so.
I mean, leading
yeah.
up to kind of like how everything ends up like revealing itself, I did get to the point where I knew for sure that something was up with that cousin. Because I was like,
Did you
the cousin,
really?
yeah, I
was so
did.
clueless,
The-
man.
oh, you did?
I was so clueless.
The whole time, because I was just like, at first I was like, in the first beginning when she's like, oh, Simran is dating da 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 da, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, valid, whatever, cool. But
Mhm.
then when it kind of got to a point when time had gone on, I'm like, how does Simran have more connection to Bobby and
Right.
it's just has more intel and everything over someone that you have been now talking to for over a year?
Well,
So I just kind of felt that was so weird to me.
to me, it wasn't weird because they had both lived in Kenya, and
Right.
and then Simran had dated his brother JJ. So in my head, I was like, that didn't even pop up as a red flag for me.
It did
Now
for
all
me.
this, I knew that she was being catfished, but it was the whole time I
Right.
had no idea who was doing
Well,
it.
I started to get suspicious when, you know, the cousin was basically saying, no, yeah, like
Yeah.
all these clear lies are true. She was saying like, no, he really is in a coma. He
Or
really is
just-
doing this. And I
Yeah,
was
it's
like,
like you
clearly
know
it's not
so much
happening.
information. You're
How
not
do you know
even
this?
like in the family anymore like that. You're not even dating
That's
the brother
true.
anymore
Right.
like
True.
that.
Like, it
So
wouldn't
how are you like
become-
having such like
Why are you so involved?
such
Right.
specific information inside this family?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it would have made more sense if she was reaching out to Sanj and getting information from Sanj
Mhm.
because like Sanj was more integrated, or even his wife before or some other family member. But
Mhm.
the fact that Simran was just still her go-to person of like, finding out, I was just like, nah, something's not right. And for sure, like what you said, like when she was just like, I think one of the first red flags, and she like went to Simran about it and was just like, oh, well, I don't know, because this and that and the other. And Simran was like, oh no, keep going, like blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, this little girl, like, why are you talking to your little cousin? Like, I don't know.
Like
it just
emotionally leaning on her.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I just was
yeah.
like, this is something weird.
That
Like the
doesn't
fact
make
that she's
sense.
still someone that you're going to talk to
But
about
at this
her.
Right.
at this point, it's like, who else does she go and talk to about it? She's having panic attacks. She's
I mean,
like,
I
she's
get
not
it,
in her right mind.
But she
at
also
this
like
point.
obsessively messages her and is like, "What's going on? Can
I
you tell
know.
me?"
She's
It was-
messaging the three amigos.
a little too
She's
much.
like,
It
anybody
is.
Yeah.
that could tell her what's really going
What's
on
really
with
going
Bobby.
on. Right.
Where is he? And then it was after the
She
funeral.
kind of starts to lose it.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does but it was after the funeral, and I don't blame her. Where
Yeah.
she gave him
It
an
meant a
ultimatum.
lot to her.
Mhm.
She gave him an ultimatum. She was like, I need to see you or we're done.
Yeah.
And that's when he was like, okay, I'll fly out tomorrow.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
when shit
Gave
really
her-
starts to hit the fan.
Give her a flight. Gave her a
Yeah.
flight
It hadn't
number.
already.
They gave her a flight number, and she's tracking a flight. And
Tracking a flight.
when
Which
she
I
was,
didn't know
when
you
it
could do that.
showed on the
What?
thing,
I didn't know you could do that.
You didn't know you could
I
track a
didn't
flight
know
number?
that. Yeah.
okay,
I haven't
Okay.
flown much in my life.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
yeah.
I'm gonna be telling Lizzie all the time. Oh yeah, girl, I'm flying off to Miami. Here's the flight number. She's
Yeah,
gonna be
if you
looking at
Here's
it.
the flight
Honestly,
number.
if somebody texts you their flight number, you can click
can-
on it now, and it
Mhm.
instantly goes to
Yeah.
Google and tracks their flight.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Every once in a while, I do that for like the people that I support, to make sure that their flight's going to where it needs to go.
Who are you supporting?
People at my job.
Me,
People?
you know, I fly every day. I send her my flight.
I just
numbers
track
every day.
Bex's flight all the
I
time.
was like,
Yeah.
okay.
No, it's for my job.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't do it all the time,
Yeah.
but
I didn't even know you
anywho,
could do it.
Karatas, she is tracking this flight, and I was laughing at this point because I was like, she's tracking a flight and no one's on there that she doesn't know. Like, she doesn't know anybody on this
Yeah.
flight.
No, but she was like, she was also messaging him, you better get on that airplane.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
Yeah,
the whole
get on
time,
the
'cause
plane.
He's like, I'm just running to the gate right now. She's
Right.
like, you just make that flight.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl,
Is it,
he's
like
not
running
even
late or something.
He's
It's
not
just
in
like,
the
just get
city.
on
He's
it.
not in the airport. He's definitely not on the plane. Like, this is just like a whole made up
Oh,
scenario.
and by the way, who
you're-
you're talking to is not him.
yeah, and by the way, yeah, it's just I felt bad, but I was also was
Yeah.
laughing because I was just like, she easily just was like, yeah, track this flight.
And then what happens? She's
She's waiting for him to show up because he's like, oh, I'm here. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I'm
in
great
the
that you're
hotel.
here.
Yeah, he
And
goes
then
to
she's
the
like,
hotel.
okay, when can I see you? And he's like, oh, you can't see me
Need
yet. I'm trying to
time.
settle. I need
I
time.
just need some time. And then days go by.
Weeks.
Weeks go by.
Weeks. It was like 2 or
Weeks.
3 weeks. And
2 or
she's
3
like,
weeks.
where the fuck
Yeah.
are you?
Well, 'cause
Show your face.
it just doesn't make any
It's too
sense.
much.
Like, you
Yeah.
came here for me, right? That's
Yeah.
why you're here.
What are
So
we
we're-
doing?
But apparently
What are
not.
you doing?
What are you
So
doing?
then she drives over to the hotel and
Yeah.
asks like,
Yep.
"Hey,
She's
is
had
so
enough.
and so?"
And they're
I
like,
think it was, what was his last name? It was like Rondu or something like that.
I don't
something.
remember.
She's like, is Bobby blah 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 here? And they're like, no. She's like, check again. She's like, check again.
Just like having a mental breakdown in
She
the lobby.
is.
Oh my god!
Could you imagine that receptionist? Like,
I know.
Yes,
Like,
ma'am.
I promise you,
Hey,
ma'am. No. But you know what though? I don't know how it is over in London
Are
or
you
whatever. But
supposed
like,
to
I don't
give
think you
out
can give that.
I don't
their
think you
info?
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a
No. I
privacy
mean, I know
issue or
you-
a security issue.
You
Even-
can't give out the number, but can you give out the name?
No,
That's a
some
good
hotels I
question.
don't even think you can give out the name
Okay.
if that person's staying there or not.
But
I
regardless,
was
she called him
curious.
anyway, and she was like, they said you're not staying here, and he was like, oh yeah, I told them not to tell anyone
'Cause of,
because
you
I don't
know-
want anyone to
Of
know
course.
where I
Right,
am.
because you know I was a part of the WPP.
Even though he's not anymore.
I
He's not
know.
undercover. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Guys, it's off topic, but like every
What?
time I hear think of witness protection program, I think of princess protection program.
Oh,
I watch,
yeah,
like,
the
Selena
Disney-
Gomez.
yeah.
And,
Oh.
like
I'm not, I,
I've
was
never heard of that.
I wasn't mad at that
Oh,
movie.
it was like right up there with Camp Rock.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, those are my two.
yeah. Oh, those were your favorite Disney movies?
I wasn't really allowed to watch any other Disney movies.
Those were just the ones you could watch.
Yeah, and That's So Raven.
I love that.
I love That's So Raven.
Yeah.
That was
How you
my
gonna
jam.
say, oh yeah, and That's So Raven? She trumps those. Come
Well,
on.
I don't
That's
know.
So
I
Raven
wanted
was
to
awesome.
like.
Well, that's
I
a show.
loved Demi Lovato with like those straight across bangs. You saw me rock those, okay?
Yeah.
And the skinny jeans with the fringe boots.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
I only watched
Nailed
Camp.
it.
I watched Camp Rock because of the Jonas Brothers. That's what I showed up to see.
I was never into the Jonas
I
Brothers.
was never.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway.
There she goes again.
program.
We're so showing our age right now.
I don't
I
care.
watched That's So Raven.
I mean, you can see into the future.
Oh my god.
But no. back to the document. So she was livid at this point.
As you would be.
So right, as you would be, and he was giving lame excuses. It got to the point where like she was just like, he's lying, and I'm like, yes, girl.
Yes, girl.
Yes,
You're
he's
finally
lying.
here with us.
Yeah, at this point, the prerogative is not to see him anymore; it's just to catch him.
Him and
in
like,
a
what are
lie.
you doing?
So, like, I need to find out.
Well, the crazy
now.
thing is too is she's not even putting it together of like, oh, is this person even real? It's more so kind of like,
Is he
I'm gonna
cheating
catch
on
him.
me?
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
gonna catch him into something. And
That was
I'm gonna
strange
get to
for
the bottom
me.
of why he's not showing his face.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no, like she had no idea what it
Like
it
she
was
didn't
gonna
question anything leading up to that, but then at that point she was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it must be cheating." I was just like, "Really? You
Well,
go
right.
to that conclusion before he's not real?"
be. Well,
Yeah,
so the
no,
thing with
I
Sanj,
don't
know.
I think the thing with Sanj probably had her feeling that way though because of like, okay,
Oh,
you were a
that's
little
true.
bit of
Like,
vague
you're
about how this
seeing
baby
Sanj.
came up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So like you could have other hoes in different area codes.
I don't know.
But
I think it was wishful thinking, really.
Yeah. Well, she gets the PI though, and she's like, okay,
Yeah.
I need
Well,
to
even
find
before
out.
that, though, even before that, because Bobby had told her after like the hotel, he had gone back to his
Brighton.
home. No, I think it was in Kensington, wasn't it?
Oh, it
But
might have been.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
you're right. And she
No,
went to like
he said Kensington,
And she
then
went outside.
He
She
gave
went
her
outside.
the address.
Yeah.
She got out
and
there.
she went there.
He's like,
and
"I
she's-
see you."
I can't see that.
He's like, but I see you.
I
and
see
I'm not
you, yeah.
and I'm not coming down.
Don't come up.
I see you, but
see
I'm
you.
not coming down.
It's the house at the end. You're like, what house at the end?
Right. And they like panning to like all the
Yeah.
windows and stuff. And honestly, at that point, like even if I made it this far, if he had the audacity to be like, I'm not coming to come see you, but I can see you out my window, I'm like, you little bitty weakling. I'm so done with you. I'm so done with it.
I was gonna say, at what point do you say I'm done for me? Like I'm not letting you
Right.
make these decisions anymore.
Right.
I'm stopping because this is ridiculous.
Well, I don't think she could stop at any point. It's just like
Yeah.
I could feel her pain in the sense that she needed to know. She
Yeah.
needed to know now. It didn't matter her mental health at
What
this
was
point
happening.
or
Yeah.
saving her peace of mind. No, she just needed to know.
Yeah.
But the
And-
fact that he was just like, I'm not gonna come down there to see you,
Yeah.
like that should have been
crazy.
enough for you to be like, got it.
Got it. Yeah,
You
that's
know
how
what
you
I
feel
mean?
about me.
Yeah, got it.
I
Like
agree.
you flew all this way and you're making all these excuses and you literally see me down here on this street
And then
corner
you
and you can't even come down
Can't
here
walk
to see
those
me.
little legs all the way down here, really. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's not
Give me the
let's
go
not
ahead.
forget let's not forget she tries to call Sanj.
She does.
She finds her phone number,
Mhm.
calls her, and then when
She goes,
Sanj
"Bobby?"
picks up, she's
Yeah.
like, Bobby, is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just hangs up. Cause she's just like, what
Oh
the
my
hell?
gosh.
Which-
Yeah.
Doesn't
Which
she
confirms
have,
more so like maybe the cheating thing is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause then she's
The-
like, oh, they're talking.
Yeah,
they're
the two life,
talking.
yeah.
does
Yep.
she not have like his contact though in there? Why would she say, Bobby, is that you?
I don't
You
know.
Isn't that kind of weird?
That is kind of weird.
Yeah, that
I
is
guess.
weird now that you think about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
She wasn't thinking at the time.
No one was thinking.
No
okay?
one.
No one.
Yeah.
No
but
one knows
then
anything.
she's like, I gotta get to
I
the
was
bottom
just
of it. So
yelling
then
at the
that's when she
screen.
gets in with the PI and she gets
Yeah.
the private investigator
Mhm.
and they gives her
Finds the
the most
address.
last recent address associated with his name.
Mhm.
Which is so funny because it's like I'm so glad that like it wasn't a catfish situation where it's like a completely made up name
Mhm.
to like someone's photo.
Well, that's
She
what
actually
made
had
it
a
all the
name to,
more
like-
real.
It
Yeah.
did, but it's also really helpful when you do involve a professional to go and do research because you
Yeah.
can be like, okay,
'Cause
here's
it's
some
also
more
legal.
information on this person.
It's also legal.
Legal
and
to,
you can't
yeah.
be accused of stalking because if you go out and do what the private investigator is doing, you're
Yeah.
probably not doing it in a legal way.
Yeah.
You're probably stalking.
Yeah.
You're probably being a little
That's true.
creep.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
might as well hire someone else to do the dirty work instead of like getting yourself. in
Yeah, I
trouble
mean, I
for
don't
doing
even
Yeah.
think he did anything besides just look in a database to find
Probably.
it, though.
Yeah, but
be
stuff
honest
Probably
with
she
you.
didn't
probably
even
couldn't
cost that
access.
much.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I think he was just like, yep, this is the last date out because she was looking for, like, where can I find this man? Because he's not where he's saying he's
I mean,
supposed
for
to be.
the most part, you can Google any of us and find our address. It's kind of
Mhm.
creepy, but it's true.
Mhm.
It's true.
It's not hard to find.
I've done that with
Yes.
past people I've dated just to find out where they
Have
say
you?
that. Yeah,
Really?
for sure.
Interesting.
Making
Mhm.
sure that
You
they're
check their record.
Kind of.
Are you
a couple.
the gal that does like? Are you the kind of person who does a background check on
Before
people
you go on a first date?
Yeah.
Sometimes I do.
Okay.
I don't
sometimes-
necessarily think that's a bad thing.
If it's
No, I
if
think
people are giving off
it's good
really
to
creepy
know.
vibes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could go. There should be another segment about dating stories,
Just
but
like here's how to do it.
well, it's just like
What
when
to
people are
do,
giving
what
you
not to do.
weird vibes or whatever, it makes you want to look at them and do more of a research sometimes.
solid.
And
It's
like
good to be
sometimes it's
informed.
just like
Yeah.
okay, you find out, especially when you go into like the one database where you find out like if they're on like any criminal history.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can find out if people went to jail for certain things like
Mhm.
assault or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's just like that could be a good information to go walking
Like he went to
into
jail
someone.
and raped 6 women. It'd be like, nope.
Yeah, remember the guy that I
Nope.
dated in the summertime?
Yeah.
And then I did a background check on him, and it turned out the information I found him about was kind of true.
What came
But
up?
I still gave him a chance.
What
I
was
do.
it?
I mean,
I
he
do
didn't do
remember
anything
that.
crazy. Well, he
Okay.
did some crazy stuff, but not anything crazy physically to me or anything like super crazy. But
it
like,
felt off.
well, it's just overall like finding out that like he had a criminal history, which it wasn't too bad, but it was good knowledge to know going into it.
Yeah.
And then later on, like him associated with his ex, like it was just like such a messy situation
It's toxic for
Mhm.
sure.
that like I backtracked really fast.
Yeah.
I was like, no, we are not gonna
I don't blame you.
continue.
Especially as a woman, it's good to know it. If you're meeting on dating
Yeah.
apps, you don't know this person.
Yeah.
It could be anyone.
And he definitely, because I let him know too that I did a background check on him.
Nice.
Oh,
And
did
he, yeah, and
What'd he
he
say?
got really, because he picked me up for one of our dates, and he was like, we was going along, and then I told him, I was like, well, where are we going? And he was like, oh, we're going over here. And I made a joke of kind of like, well, I don't know you like that. It depends on where we going. I'm not trying to get kidnapped. I said something like that. And then he was like, why would I try to do that? And I was like, well, I don't know.
Please all over
I was
again.
like,
He's
it could be like a criminal. I was like, I mean, I don't know. Do you have a criminal record? And he was like, well, how do you know about that? And I was like, maybe I did some looking up. And I was like, maybe your ex reached out to me and told me some stuff. And he was like, And he got quiet in the car. And I was like, mm-hmm. And
His
then,
ex reached out to you?
yeah, girl, it's a whole story.
Yeah,
It
she was
really
I missed this
is.
one.
She was like
I'll
in a
have to tell you
Facebook
off.
group
Okay.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, when I told him all that, he,
Mhm.
like, ended up saying, like, I don't want to continue the date. I'm going to drop you off back at home.
Wow.
This was, like, the third date.
wow.
I was like, go on ahead. Drop me back. You ain't scared
No,
what
me.
you
good,
gotta
good on
do.
you though for being
Yeah.
so straightforward, because I'm not gonna lie, if I was in that situation,
I'd be
I don't know
terrified.
if I don't know if I would tell him that I did the background check.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm
No.
just not that straightforward.
Yeah, I
But
pretty much said that his
appreciate
ex
you
told
did.
on it, and his ex ratted him out. And then
Mhm.
I double
would've-
checked that.
I would have definitely communicated about the ex reaching out for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't think I would have communicated that I did a background check.
I don't know if I would have like blatantly said I did a background check on you, but I think I followed it up with like, well,
I
I
looked
did my
into it.
own like,
Yeah.
research
Yeah.
because I
And
don't
looking you
just
up a
trust
little.
anybody say it myself or
Right.
say it to me. So
Yeah.
I was like, and
It was
you know,
confirmed.
some of it was true,
Yeah.
but she did exaggerate on some of it though too. And
For
I wanted to
sure.
let him know like, okay, like you know, you got that and that, and
Well,
I
it's not
understand.
an unbiased opinion.
yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, what I'm saying is like getting a background check can never hurt.
It's true.
I agree.
Public knowledge.
Yeah.
So
Advice from Cherish.
yep.
So anyway, she
Yes.
starts driving. It's like an hour away to the house.
Yeah,
after
she was like, F it. No,
yeah,
or
I'm just
something.
gonna go. And
Mhm.
she said that she was looking. I do this all the time, but she's looking at her GPS and she's just watching like the minutes count down.
Yeah.
I do that
Yeah.
too
I do
all the
too.
time
Yeah.
for
Really?
anywhere I go.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
I like to fade out and then like reach back in to
What's
like
the
what I'm doing. I'm like,
worst?
oh, I'm only 5 minutes out.
What's the
Sweet.
worst is if you're in really bad traffic, aka me every day going to work,
Mhm.
but it starts like adding time. I'm like, no.
No, please don't.
Please don't stop.
Oh yeah, I
stop.
hate
It's
that.
the
It's like
worst.
it turns red.
Yeah.
You're like, no,
No.
stay green.
I can't imagine being in her state of mind and the number was to turn red. and
Right.
I
like,
know.
She's already so anxious.
About ready
She's
to
got butterflies
implode.
in her stomach.
Talk
yeah.
about someone though that like I will agree with Bex in a sense where it's just like she like did the follow through. She's like, I'm gonna get my answers. I'm gonna go up to the door. I'm gonna
Right.
figure out
I
what's
can't
going
leave this
on.
hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what she did. She like run up to that door and
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, what
This
happened
is
was-
where I'm just like, oh my gosh, because like I knew she was being catfished. I pretty much knew that it was the cousin at this point, at least for me.
right.
it's
But
so
like
clueless.
I still what shocked me was that
Bex is like, this is Bobby.
what
He is real.
what shocked me was the fact that like the real Bobby was a part of the story in the documentary. And just
Yeah.
the fact that like I knew that she was catfishing and pretending to be somebody else, but I didn't know that like the real Bobby was, I don't know how to explain it. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like, I
No,
don't
I
know.
don't
He
know.
wasn't like you didn't think he was legitimately that, like he wouldn't look like the Bobby that was portrayed. He
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
be
guess,
that
like, I
Bobby.
think-
he would be like a different version of this Bobby that's been created.
Well, a
on
lot of the
social
time
media.
too, they changed the name.
They
What's
do,
really
right.
interesting is that she kept the name and she kept all of
the
his
photos
stories,
and
his
everything.
photos. It's smart because it makes the lie more
Look really,
true.
really
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
guess what
part
I'm
of it
trying to
is
say
true.
is normally when catfishing occurs, people will just take a random photo of somebody
Right.
and they don't really know them or whatever, and it's like an attractive person or whatever. And it's like, you know, that's a person of somebody somewhere or whatever. But the fact that like she just ran up to the door and like, yup, that's the real Bobby.
Yeah.
I was
Mhm.
thinking maybe she would run up to the door and I don't know, that like it was just gonna be Simran or
yeah,
like
somebody. Yeah.
yeah, like
I feel
someone
like-
else or somebody like that. But the fact that
yeah.
it was just like
It
Bobby
was
himself, and he's
Bobby,
just
you're
like, hello.
"Oh."
He had no idea what was
Because
going on.
yeah.
He
that's
had
what's
never met
portrayed.
her.
That's what's portrayed on like Catfish MTV, where it's
Right.
like they find the guy, they find the house, and then you walk up to the door and it's like, who in the what? Why
Who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just still
It's
thinking
like-
that it wasn't
It's
gonna be
someone
the
you
real Bobby.
never
I thought it was just gonna be
expected.
somebody
Right,
else or
right.
Simran,
But
like
nope.
Simran, like hello,
Like an old lady or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
or something. But I was just like, dang, like that's legit Bobby, and oh
Mhm.
my gosh, yep, he's still married to Sanj.
And yep, Sanj and the,
The baby.
son was
Yeah.
It all
with
adds up
him
because it's a
so-
real person. It's just
Yeah.
not the person
and a
you've been
real
talking
family.
to. Yeah.
Mhm.
all real people.
Yeah.
So,
And you know, I think it's interesting that it almost seems like from her perspective, she failed to see how her interaction was threatening.
yes,
Yeah.
violent, volatile.
Right. But
Yeah.
on their side, they're like, we were scared. We didn't know what was
right,
going
or who
on.
she is. Our baby's right here. We don't want her
you
to
could
like.
tell that they took
Yeah.
pity, but at the same time they were like, "Okay,
You got
Leave
the
us
wrong
alone.
call
person.
the police,
Right.
Bye."
Because she came up the first time out of that conversation with him and, you know, then left. They locked the
Yeah.
door. Then she came back and had more to say.
The ti-
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the time that she should have been like, you know what? I think something's really, 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 really off here.
Right.
Is when she's going at it with the real Bobby, and she gets the phone call from Bobby on her
Bobby?
phone.
Yes.
That's
I
where she
agree.
should have been like,
Oh, interesting.
this is.
But then she thought Sanj, because she had stepped away
I
from the door because she
know.
was scared. She thought Sanj
I agree with
was
you. It's
calling
just a
her
bit
to
of a
make
reach.
a point.
It's a
Yeah.
reach
Yeah,
at
and
that
I'm
point.
like, yeah,
Especially if you're
yeah.
like
She's
talking to that
trying
person
hard.
and you aren't. It's not Sanj on the phone that's talking to
Right.
you.
Imagine
Yeah.
if you were in San's position though, and someone opened the door and was like, knew your husband's
Right.
name,
Yes.
and
You'd be like,
how would you
"Honey?"
feel?
I know.
Like,
Okay.
what have
happening?
you been doing?
Right.
And he's like, I swear.
I
Right?
promise.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
this girl.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
who do I trust
Yeah.
at this point? And
Yeah.
Sanj in the documentary was like, he's never shown
Right.
me any
Given me a reason
Right.
to doubt
Yeah,
him.
But I
not
think
Yeah.
that's how
him.
locked in as a couple they were. Like him just saying, like, you know, they said that, like, oh, I'm wealthy and all that. It's like, no, we're just
an
a regular average
family.
couple. And I was like, I totally
Yeah.
got that from you guys. I totally
Right.
got that. Like once they sat down and everything, I was just like, yeah, this is just like a ordinary
regular,
couple.
happy little
Happy,
family.
you know, probably in the
Yeah.
bliss of their new baby.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
this man isn't stepping out on his wife, and the fact
No.
that she didn't even entertain that idea, I think she was just
No.
more so kind of like,
Showed
who's
how
this woman at
strong
my
they
door?
are.
Yeah,
Like-
it's like, what is going
They
on?
trusted each other,
Right.
but still,
They did.
it would be off-putting to have a woman be like,
Very much
we've
so.
been talking for this many years,
For
and how
sure.
dare you?
And
be
she's
like,
showing messages and
What?
photos, and
Yeah.
she knows Sanj's
She's got-
name. She knows
Yeah.
Sanj's son's
Mhm.
name.
Yeah,
And-
But good for her for
so
staying
weird.
calm
And
to
then
get the whole story.
Simran calls.
I know.
And then she's on the phone with Simran, and Bobby's on the phone with Simran, and Simran's like, she's just confused.
She's confused.
Right.
It's fine.
I'm so sorry.
Give the phone back
I've
to
just
her.
pretending to be you for years now, but you know, I don't know where the confusion's coming
He's
from.
so lost. But then she should have walked away after this whole interaction.
should
where it's
have.
Like, okay, something sus is going on. I just need to go to the police. But no, that
Right.
didn't even come to her mind.
No.
Like they were like, they offered to call they said they were going to call the police, but she came back to the door
I know.
and had to say, "Oh, I really feel a connection to your son."
That was
like
weird.
she was spiraling.
yeah,
She was,
spiraling.
yeah, and she was.
But at that point, as
she
a
was
as a
done.
mother, I would just be like, "Excuse."
Yeah,
Get
but
the
I
fuck off
think
my front
honestly,
porch.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
honestly, I think it was like the best couple in this situation.
They handled it very
They
well.
handled it so well.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would have had that much grace
No.
for her. But to be honest
No.
with you though, like she was so justified for
They
a
both
good
were.
minute to
Yeah.
be like up at his door and being like, listen, this
Of
is my
course.
All of
fiance.
this that led
Like,
up.
why aren't you seeing me? Like, blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Like, and so like I'm so relieved because I got secondhand embarrassment watching her, even though it was like
Yeah.
moving. But I also was just kind of like, I'm so happy we've gotten to the point now where things are gonna be revealed and you're finally gonna get your answers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because honestly, like, it wasn't until the cousin literally had to come to the door to up there
Yeah,
to
she
really
went-
like break it down for her,
uh-huh.
because I think she still was struggling with like what's going on. I don't
she didn't want
understand.
to make the connection, and I get it because that's
Right.
real strange.
Well, Bobby.
She's like, look at this fine man up at the door.
Bo-
Oh, Sanj and this baby need to get out of my way.
Okay, that was out of left pocket. I can't remember. What I was
I'm
gonna say
sorry.
now. Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
Anyways.
Bobby even messaged her after she walked away from
Yeah.
the house and was like, "Now you've seen it all. Sorry you had to see that."
yeah.
And she was just
Yeah.
like,
Making
"Okay,"
it-
and she was
yeah.
thinking it was him still,
I
and just
know.
lying, like straight up lying to Sanj and her, and pretending like he didn't know her.
Right.
Yeah.
So she was just like, "We're
It
done."
did take her cousin coming to the front door and being like, it was all me.
Yeah, because
for
at first she's like,
her-
"Come in, it's
for
so
it
good
to,
to
like,
see you,
shatter.
Simran."
Uh-huh.
And she was like, "I better not come in." And she's
Right.
like, "Why?"
Probably
Right.
shouldn't
You don't
come
want me
in,
to
yeah.
come in. Trust me.
Yeah.
She was just
This
like,
is
it was
why.
all me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was no expression,
Not
no
really.
sense of remorse or guilt when she told her.
Yeah.
I mean, she
Like-
said that. I think she said she was sorry, but there was still not much after that.
That's
It was
your
just like, it was all
family
me,
member,
and
you
like,
know?
my bad. It was just kind of like, my bad, girl.
Yeah.
She didn't even seem
And-
that remorseful, she said. And then, the fact that they had been Skyping every night.
Yeah.
With
Well,
each
all the
other.
emotional abuse, like when you add it all up, like
Ugh.
everything that Simran was doing to
Yes.
her cousin,
Yeah.
why would you do that to someone?
Right.
You know?
And
There's
who
no
knows
reason
if
for
there
it.
were, sexual exchanges and she didn't know that her cousin was on the other
Oh.
line.
Yeah, she did not
you
want to
know?
share.
She didn't go into it, but I can only imagine.
Yeah,
That's
And
painful, though.
It's gross.
That's
Yeah, it
traumatic.
It is.
that's terrible. Oh, I'm still just like,
I don't get that. That's to me, like, I don't get. Like, you pretended to be someone else for years. I kind of get to a certain point because, like, you were 17 when you started it. You're a
Mhm.
little kid. You didn't know better.
Right.
But you continued
But you
on
continued for a
well
long
into your
time.
20s.
Right.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
it wasn't until, like, things got to a point where you had to reveal yourself. It
Mhm.
wasn't like, you know what,
can't
I
keep
feel
it up
bad
anymore.
about this. Let me, like, come clean and tell her
No, it
about
was
it.
like,
No,
no,
it was,
she
oh,
couldn't
shoot,
keep
I'm
it
up against the
anymore.
wall.
Yeah.
the
Guess I gotta be like,
end.
oh, jig's up.
yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing is, she even could have left it there. She could have.
Yeah.
Simran could have been
She-
like, "Well, they're done," because she saw the
Well,
real Bobby.
The
and, like,
reason she had to like come clean was because they were gonna press
Yeah,
charges.
Bobby wasn't playing around.
Yeah.
Real Bobby was
that's
like,
right.
Remember?
because real Bobby, when the cat left and everything like that,
He
he was
called the
like, I'm gonna
cops.
call the cops.
That's
And I think he
right,
was
I
gonna
forgot
get
about
like a lawyer involved and everything because he's like,
something fishy's
yeah,
going on.
something,
Yeah.
someone's
Right.
pretending to be me.
And then Simran called Bobby
And
it
said,
was
like,
like,
don't worry about it, it
please.
was me.
It was
Yeah.
me, but please don't do anything.
She was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go through counseling to work through all of this, but please don't bring the police into it. He's like, I'm not hiding anything from the police.
Right.
And he's
Like,
like, good luck with that.
Good
yeah,
on him.
I loved his response.
Yeah.
He was just like, no nonsense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But so the wild thing is, though, is the fact that, like, Simran, when Simran had called and got on the
Mhm.
phone, he knew who she was because she did, in fact, date his brother,
Right.
JJ.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
JJ is alive and well. And it said that JJ and her dated for
That's true.
briefly, but she ended up being stalkerish and weird with him. So he ended up breaking, they ended up
Right.
breaking up.
That's right.
So Bobby was like,
Bobby
oh,
knew
Simran?
her. Yeah.
What?
That is
Yeah.
interesting.
But then at the same time, when it came down to like, yeah, girl, I'm gonna press charges on you. I don't care if you dated
I
my
don't
brother
care.
or not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
like
it's a
this-
huge violation of privacy to take all your pictures and use your
Absolutely.
identity.
Absolutely.
So, I don't blame him.
Oh,
Identity theft in kind of a way.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it
absolutely.
is identity
Yeah.
theft. And the
Yeah.
fact that like not only are you convincing just one person, she is convinced all of Karat's family that she's
Yeah.
getting married, that she's getting all of
Friends
all
yeah,
of that. And so it's
yeah.
just like, dang, like he has to clear his name. and make people understand that like this wasn't
This didn't
me
happen.
leading
Yeah.
your daughter on and all this
Yeah.
type of stuff. This
I'm
was
married. I have kids.
Right.
or
Right.
a baby. You
And
know.
luckily, Karat didn't spiral so much to the point where like she couldn't like go ahead and do the things that she needed to do in order to have a convincing case, because she went in there, collected all of the evidence and everything, because Simran was deleting stuff.
Deleting
Yeah.
That
And I was
was
like,
so
dang.
scary. I would be on my phone just like
So
Huh?
think of how many screenshots you would have from that many years. All
I
those
know.
chats.
Probably
Yeah,
thousands.
and that's what she said.
Yeah.
And she was like trying to file them, but
Mhm.
you have to go before she can delete them.
Yeah,
It's just like,
I think she was ahead of her though, because she said that she was collecting them, and then
Yeah.
going back to the profiles, and they were
starting
deleting, and they were
to
going away. And she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh shoot!"
Yeah.
I'd be
But
panicking.
she had gotten it.
And I think she was realizing how big the facade was as she was going through. all the
Yeah.
Well,
Well, she
messages
said it was
to
like
get
30
this person-
people.
yeah, well, it was 60
Mhm.
plus.
60 plus.
Fake characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and so she's realizing all of these
Who's
interactions.
got time for that?
All fake. I don't know. Who
Yeah.
does have time for that? I barely have
I
time
don't
for my
know.
one Facebook profile.
Right.
Like,
I was watching it with
Right.
Iris, and Iris was just like, "That took so much effort from her.
Yeah.
like
So
so
much.
much effort
it's
for
like writing
years."
a book. She should have written a book. Write a play.
Yeah,
I don't
I know.
know. Like,
You got
a
all
hobby.
you got all these people in your head.
Start crocheting, you know?
Something, girl, like something. And I just kind of get over the fact that like you had this gone for so long,
Mhm.
and at the same time you didn't even have like a there wasn't any like a ill relationship between them.
Mhm.
So I'm just kind of like, how did you end up doing something so evil to somebody that like you didn't even have like a bad
No,
relationship
they
with?
were kind of close for a while because
Yeah.
You did
Simran, when
that.
she was younger, Kirat was kind of her role model and her mentor, and she would
Yeah.
give advice. It was kind of like a big sister kind of relationship. So the fact
Yeah.
that she would do something
She
like
said
that,
that
to
she was in
essentially
a-
family, like that,
Yeah.
unthinkable. I don't know.
mean-
Karat said
And-
that there was a part where she was trying, she's like kept saying why, and trying to get it from someone.
Yeah, why
And she said that at one point
she, didn't
she
have a
had
good
said
reason.
something of the lines of like, "Oh, well, it seemed like we were both like
I know what you're talking
being there for each other
It
during a
was-
dark
about.
time."
Yeah, so she's
And she was
I
like,
made
"Girl,
this-
what?"
She made this
Excuse me?
fantasy world that they were both happy in and could just live in when everything
Yeah.
else was going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that, I think she might have spoken to that in an apology letter that she sent Kirat,
Right.
which we don't
Right.
have full
And she
access
said it
to.
wasn't really a real apology letter.
No.
She
you
said
know?
it did not
Didn't seem
feel
genuine
it
or
did not feel
sincere.
sincere. And even in the beginning when she found out, she Kirat said to Simran, "You've ruined my life." And then Simran looked at her and said, "You ruined your life."
You ruined your own life. Yeah. That says it
Ugh.
all right there.
That's
I
like the
think-
punch to the gut.
I think that
Mhm.
Simran should take majority of the responsibility, if not full of the responsibility. However, I do feel like Karat, there was times that there was red major flags where she really should have checked in with herself and really asked like, okay, what do I want out
I
of
mean,
a
I
relationship?
don't think it was her fault.
What does my timeline look like?
No,
Is
she
was
this person
definitely a
really fitting
victim.
into like
She
what
was a
I'm looking
victim.
into? That's what
Yeah.
she should have done for herself. She
But I was
didn't.
gonna say
but-
for herself, she should have reevaluated. Some
Oh, yeah,
things.
for sure.
Absolutely.
But do you remember when she brought the case to the police because
Yeah.
the real Bobby,
Mhm.
had called Kirat
Bobby.
and
Mhm.
was like, "Hey, we've called the police,
For
but
pressing
they
charges, yeah.
said they said you should also
You're a victim."
submit to
Right.
the case." But when she got to the department to file her case, they said she wasn't a victim.
And that happens so
Mm.
often with internet crimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
then that's when Bobby's parents were talking about in the film. They were saying that catfishing is not considered a crime in London.
Which is
That's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does sound like Simran won't be serving any time, but she did pay. I know she did pay money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Some
Kirat.
restitution.
I
Mhm.
don't know what has happened necessarily for Bobby and his family.
I wanted to
know.
know how much it was. too.
Yeah.
I was
Probably was
curious.
enough.
It probably
Not
was
enough.
enough,
Not
because-
enough, but like a probably hefty amount.
Because she was going strong in her career and she had just gotten a promotion, I think. And
Mhm.
I had looked up an article like where is Simran now, and she had just received a promotion, I think, at like a really well-known bank in the UK.
How is
she was
she
VP.
doing that all day?
I don't know. And then
While
she
she's
stepped
working.
down though shortly after all of this
Came out.
came out. And
Oh, I
so
bet she did.
now lives a very quiet life with her family and doesn't want to come forward necessarily about anything. She was not happy seeing
Are there
this
pictures of her?
documentary.
out there?
No.
Why
they're
would she
not.
want to? Why would she want to come out? I don't advise her to come out. There's
No,
nothing.
She's gonna receive
There's
a lot
nothing
of
that
hate.
she can really add to it. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I
But-
don't even really want to know her why. I know enough that there's some stuff that hopefully she's gone to counseling or continues to go to counsel
Right,
for.
Right. And quits doing this
Mhm.
first and
Right.
foremost.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
quit ruining
it's like
other people's lives.
How many other people has she done?
Oh,
this
she
to?
said
lot.
that
In
she was.
time.
She said they were doing stuff like that when she was in the university too. Yeah, in high school, she was like
yeah,
pretending
that's
so
not your
she
first
can get
time.
popularity and like or somehow be like I don't know, cool or something like that.
Wow.
And she's known to like be stalkerish.
okay.
Wow.
So
But like
It's
it's
a
so
pattern.
crazy because within her family and her own community, like
they didn't catch on to
they
that.
didn't catch up
Didn't see
onto
it.
that. She
Right.
was your typical like good.
Yeah, I saw the
Schoolgirl.
pictures of her.
Well, I don't know if they're real.
They weren't real.
They were because
Yeah.
she doesn't want her
Oh,
real
okay.
real
face
identity out there.
Yeah, but
Well-
she said she watches this film and she was not happy with how she was portrayed and stuff. And,
Well, you wouldn't be.
But yeah,
But that's
no.
the truth.
But yeah,
You
it
made
is the
some
truth,
poor
and you need-
choices.
yeah,
Over and over
that's
and
what
over and
happens.
over and over again.
Here's
Consequences of your actions.
my opinion on it is if you want to rebuttal with no, that didn't happen, you need to come out and say something.
Yeah,
you know, we
sure.
can't hear your story, your
Right.
side of it if you don't say anything.
Yeah, you
Well,
might as
it's almost-
speak your piece if you have a problem with it.
Right.
It's like Baby
Yeah.
Reindeer, the woman that came out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really think you're gonna make it better for yourself.
Probably not.
honestly, like I mean, she can come out and later on and say something or whatever, but I don't really think that she has much else to really make it better for herself.
Right.
Yeah.
You
I
dug
really
your own
don't.
grave.
Yeah, and I think
it's
she
already
knows
a
that.
problem.
Now, if it was really, really off, and you're like, no, they really got this wrong. That's not how this went down.
That didn't happen at all.
Then yeah, maybe you need to step up to the plate and speak your piece. But otherwise, she probably is doing the right thing for herself.
Yeah.
Because if she reveals her face and everything like that, she's gonna get a ton of.
Well, and it happened.
and
Yeah.
backlash.
Maybe some of the details are off, but
Mhm.
I think she would have to be placed in witness protection.
Girl.
She
People
kind-
would
I
find
mean,
out who
she-
she was.
yeah, she kind of did that for herself. I wonder
She
if she
really did.
changed her name. Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, do you guys remember when I guess like he would like she said that the things that she Bobby, would say was like, "Oh, what would you do if I joined the ISIS? Would you
What?
come with me?" Yeah, he would say
asked
stuff like
Garrett
that.
that?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
I think
I
that
don't
was in the
remember that at
research.
all.
That was in the
Oh.
research article that I read
Oh
that he
my
would be
gosh.
asking her like weird things to like just manipulate with her and like
Yeah.
just like play toy games with her because it wasn't just like
hate
oh
that.
controlling her where she would go and stuff. He would also be just like
Mind fucking.
saying yeah like messing with her like oh would
Absolutely.
you come with me? Would you still marry me? Would you still join me in ISIS? Like girl. That's a red flag. You need
Yeah.
to. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what her
Like,
and her family is into, but like most people, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like even if this person was real, like would you stay with someone who?
Well, that's what I said when I was watching
Stirs
it.
the
I was
pot
like,
like that?
even if this person was who they're presenting to her, this is bad news.
I know.
You know? And I get being abused and everything, but she's never even met the guy. She needs to walk away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
She
crazy.
invested way too much of her time and emotions into him.
I'm hoping that she went to therapy after this and
Yeah.
has.
And I hope she's doing good now.
Yeah,
I do.
and she got her radio show back because
She
during this whole
did.
time she lost it.
Yeah.
She did.
So she got that back, and I'm
She
happy that
is
she's doing
currently-
something for herself. And
Good.
Well, I shouldn't say currently, but I looked it up to see if she like ended up marrying or finding anyone. But no, she's still alone and has no kids.
Aw.
But
I wonder-
that's-
how old is she now? Do you know?
I think she's in her early 40s.
She was like 44 or something.
When she
Yeah.
said maybe I'll have kids, I was like,
she could still adopt
It's possible.
or whatever.
Yeah.
You never know. But I mean,
yeah.
something
But
like that can
also-
really put a boomerang into your life plans.
Oh,
also,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think her goal should be getting herself healthy, not not
Absolutely.
putting children in it just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
So
I hope she
hopefully-
finds a man that treats her right and gives
Yeah.
her the world. She
I
deserves
hope so
that.
too. But in the meantime, I'm hoping she is finding happiness and finding herself again.
Absolutely.
And reconnecting with her friends and family and all
Yeah.
the things that she missed out on during that isolation period and only focusing on
make
supporting
sure
him emotionally.
she gets strong enough to where she won't let this happen again. Like she will
Yeah.
have strong
Doubt she would
boundaries.
ever let this happen again.
Right, right.
Well,
You would hope.
I hope that
You
like
would
the
hope.
community around her, like her family and friends and stuff, are definitely giving her grace and like
Yeah.
more love
Absolutely.
because of it
Yeah.
all. Because it's
Yeah.
just like, dang, like that's rough to swallow, especially when
Yeah.
it's from your own family.
Absolutely.
Dang. Well,
That was a
that's
good one.
That's sweet Bobby
That's it.
for you.
Sweet
And
Bobby.
honestly, like Bobby, the real Bobby and Sanj, cute family. Chef's kisses.
Super
Hope they're
cute.
doing well.
Yeah.
Hopefully that they're still, like doing what they're doing. Oh, and turns out he wasn't a cardiologist, but he actually was he's a dental surgeon in real life.
Is he really?
Yeah, I wanted
that.
to know what he did for real life because he was like, "Oh, I'm just an ordinary person." I'm like, a dental surgeon's kind of like still pretty, you know,
good.
good.
That's good.
Yeah.
You got a
Your
little
paycheck's better
pocket.
than mine.
You got a
Yeah.
little check.
All
But honestly, I was just like, okay, like, you know, they're doing well, living their life and stuff. So
Yeah.
That's good.
yeah, it's good to
Happy
know.
to hear that.
Good to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, that was it. That's about all.
Yeah. Let us know what you think
Yes.
of our episode and also of the documentary in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow for
Yes.
more.
We want to hear from you.
Let
Yeah.
us know if you guys have ever been catfished before, and would you have gone this long, or would you have seen the signs earlier on and just like let them go or drop them?
Yeah, and
That's a good
at what
question.
point did you know that Simran was Bobby? Because I was clueless up until she until Simran came to the door.
Aw.
Oh.
I mean, like,
Oh.
no, like Lizzie said, the way that they like did it,
They
did
did a
keep
really
you,
good
they
job.
Did, they did.
Yeah.
They blooped it in there a little bit, but they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Well,
right,
until
let us
next
know,
time.
guys.
All
Yeah.
right.
Bye.
Bye.